All right, so we were learning arrays and we did the where we were reversing it, and that works. But as what you've seen so far is we were just having to put the sentence in there. But there are more functions that we can do. If we, instead of doing it like this, let's say I just said system.out.println, give me a sentence before doing that. And then instead of creating the string array, I could just use that string that they type sentence equals keyboard dot next line, and I could use that sentence, and I can actually, if you hit the dot, you can see different things that they have. So we have the split, which I'm going to talk about right now, because we can actually split that sentence that they type and automatically put that into an array so that we can do different things with it. But we also have this char array, which allows us to be able to look at each individual character, which I want to talk about after I cover the split. So if we do split, it says regex. Really, all that is it's saying that it needs to know what you want to split by. So if I say I want it to split by spaces, it's going to build that string array. So just to show, I'm going to write a sentence, but I want it to take each word and put it on a new line. So string word from that string array, system.out.println, print that word, and go to the next line. Okay, so I'm going to type a sentence. I'm going to use that sentence to build the array, the string array, and then each element in that array is going to get printed out on its own line. So let's see that work. I have not seen end game yet. All right, so this is actually that string array getting printed. Each element in there is getting printed. It built an array to the specific size of that sentence using the spaces. Okay, now we could see funny things happen. Let's say I'm going to put two spaces. Have not two spaces seen, and let's do it. So this didn't automatically do two double spaces. What it did is that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements in the sentence that I did, because it's separating by a space. So that first one, that space, and then it's creating another element that actually is the space. So we have to be mindful of how we're putting in our stuff. But let me show you how we could do something. So let's say that we have that sentence, I have not seen endgame yet. And we actually wanted to take that and actually look at each character and see if something matches. So let's say we want to count all the E's in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we are building this sentence, but instead of a string array, let's do a character array. And instead of doing the split, we want it to go by every single character. So that's the toChar array. And then let's also ask them .println, which letter do you want to count? Okay, now a string is really, actually a string is really an array of characters. What we can do is we can look for an input. So we could say, check letter, and if I'm taking an input, there isn't like a next character. if I'm looking. So next, I don't have that here. But I know that when they type something that, so if I did next line, or I did next, if I hit the dot again, we'll see that we have char at, just like what we had for everything else. But we want to check the character at what they type. So we already know that they're only going to type one thing, but since a string is really an array, every single letter that they put is going to be a different position in the for the elements, a different index. So we actually want the character at position 0 because they're only really entering one letter. But if they entered more, it would still only check that one letter. So let's delete this. Let's go ahead and create a method. Public static. We want to return an int count letter. And in order to do that, we have to have a, let's say, a character array. And that should be it. So we start off with int total at 0. And then we want to use, let's use an enhanced for loop. So we know that each character, now a character, just so you guys see, a character is like this, M or M. So it's just a character, it's just one letter. Current letter, and I'm checking that array. And then I'm going to put an if statement here, and I can say, hey, if current letter equals the letter that they're checking, so actually I need something else in here. I need a character, and that's the check letter that they say that they want to check. And I can say, well, hey, if it equals that check letter, then increment up total by 1. And when we're done with our loop, return total. So let's go ahead and test this out. Systemout.println. There are a total of count letter. I'm going to call that method. I'm passing in that. It should not be a string array. Let's put that as a char array, just so we're correct. I'm passing in that char array, and I'm passing in that check letter. In the sentence. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see. Okay, so it starts off with give me a sentence. I have not seen end game yet. So let's go ahead and count. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 E's. Okay. I'm going to say that I want it to look for E's. Let's see what we get. We get there's a total of 5. That's because this is capital. So it's looking for that match, but it's capital. So we want to actually take that input, that next line that they type, and we want to put that all to lowercase. So if I hit that dot, I can see I have that option right there. Let's go ahead and run it again. We want to count the E's. Now we're getting the correct number. There's a total of 6. Okay, so different ways that we could use this, using the for loops. As you've seen so far, everything that I've done with the arrays, I'm having to use some type of loop, not a while loop. You need to use a for loop or an enhanced for loop to be able to check different things. So we can use if statements to do different things with the arrays. what we could do with this, it's really kind of up to the imagination. I could use that array, say, to look for a letter from another array. So if I wanted to use, let's say like a Morse code, or I wanted to change the words every time a word starts with the letter J, then I want to do something else. I can play around with this and really kind of do almost anything that I want with it. We could do random number generation and add that in to pull up specific values and change what those are going to be, what those words are going to be. Maybe just put a random word in there just to jumble up everything, or maybe jumble up some of the letters to see if it's still readable. So far we've used arrays to check total numbers for letters, to sum up using int arrays, different ways that we can actually create those arrays. If you go to the tutorials point and you look down, you scroll down, there's the arrays.class. So there are some methods that are already built in. We can create an array and have it fill everything with the specific value. So if I wanted an int array and I wanted every number to be 100, and then I can just subtract from certain ones depending on situations, I can do that. I could check if something is equal, or do a binary search if everything's in order. So that's a fast way to search. I can also sort them in ascending order. So if I wanted to put everything in alphabetical order, maybe they typed a sentence and I want all those words to be put in alphabetical order. That's something that I can do with arrays. Okay, so we can use arrays for a lot of things. The next couple videos, it's going to be specifically explaining the project that you guys are going to have a choice to do. Okay, good luck. Have fun.